Welcome one and all to something very special. Your very first look at gameplay in 1v1 from the Dynasties of the East expansion pack for Age of Empires 4. We're hopping in with Louis, MT, and Sass as they try out two of the new civs. On the west side, in the orange, Louis MT will be playing as the Tughlaq Dynasty. This is the variant civ for the Delhi. On the other side, I'm not surprised by this. Sass, a guy who's always loved Mongols, has gone for their variation of the Golden Horde. Yes, this is going to be a fun one. So, we'll be very informative and kind of educational as we go through here, because we've got a lot of things to go over. The Golden Horde do not play like your standard Mongol experience. Uvus do exist, but not for double unit production, but for valuable Khans and their bodyguards. The other interesting thing here you're seeing already is that Sass is building this very big landmark. It seems kind of broken, right? We've got Golden Horde going into Age 2 at 1 minute. No, that's not what's happening. This is just like the House of Wisdom for the Abbasids. So this is the way that he's able to upgrade to the next ages. And he'll have two choices each time, doing the techs in here and getting other different perks as he goes along. On the other side, you may already notice that Louis MT start to spring into action in multiple directions here with his elephants. And I love this. A triple elephant opening from Louis MT, absorbing all of his wood because these cost 50 wood each as well as 25 food. But it's allowed him to go scout because fun thing about the elephants, they have decent movement speed. They function as your drop-off buildings, but also rally sheep towards them. And you guys may already be noticing the sheep do come in a varying degree of colors. It's not just white sheep anymore. We've got black sheep, brown sheep, and there's even other colors. Let me know if you guys see them in your games. So yeah, the importance of these workers cannot be stated enough. The worker elephants is the core backbone of your economy functioning well, because if you use them as your drop-off location instead of a town center, you will generate additional resources. It actually starts off at 5%, but later in the game, Louis MT is going to get the ability to scale that with things like the woven baskets to increase it by 5% per level, as well as his gathering rate. Other side, this Sass, almost time for an age up. I wonder, will he go for the Khan and Torguts to get access to cheaper Khan units, or will it be the building carts that give him infrastructure already to fight with? Dome of Faith is going to be coming from Louis MT. The Dome of Faith has been slightly altered for the Tughlaq Dynasty. So these guys, they actually get access to healer elephants, and those healer elephants can be built in Age 2 if you choose this landmark. And guys, they don't feel... they don't feel reasonable. They are very powerful. I think that the Dome of Faith may end up being just as popular on the Tughlaq Dynasty as it is on the Delhi. Yeah, this is going to be fun to see how people optimize around work elephants as the game starts to develop as well. Like, it's a very different approach to drop-off buildings. More expensive by 50% than the standard drop-off building, but has mobility to also very tanky. 500 HP means they don't go down easily. The thing that I think is going to be quite fun here is the ability to pivot quite freely between maybe two resource locations. And also, if you get a good spawn where they spawn close together, it might just be a shift back and forth. Sometimes you'll get things like berries spawning in gold, and then you don't even have to move. Or, you know, a tree line being so close to deer that you can do both at once with one elephant. And reminder, by the way, these do not take up any population space, but they do have a hard limit of 20 that can be built on the map at any given time. Okay, so it looks like Sass did go for the building carts. This is going to give him access to some packed up buildings that will be familiar for anyone who's played Mongols before. But that's about as close as you get to being OG Mongols. This is not a nomadic civ by default. It's just the building carts are a one-off. In fact, you can see that by looking at the TC. There is no way to pack up and move this town center or any of their buildings. In fact, some of them even get visual indicators to show you they're anchored, such as the Gurs of the Golden Horde, looking like they just definitely can't move. They do look cozy, though. Checkout complete. Shouldn't really be an elephant to open, though you could. The funny thing about these elephants is they actually are good attackers. They have 15 base damage built into them by default, and you can scale that damage up with melee infantry being near them. Imagine Louis, though. Would he go for possibly a stables opening so we can check out the raider elephants? Yeah, actually, no. It looks like this is just fast castle. All right, so we're getting the boys zooming into the deeper ages here. I wonder if Sass is going to do the same. In the early days, like, this is pretty standard. When we get new patches, new DLC, new expansions, we've always seen these metas are, like, just trending towards the later phases. We also have to keep in mind this might be being tested a little bit of a testing ground rather than just an outright fight. So deployment's going to come in archery range and distables. By the way, because he chose the building cards, each time he ages up, he will get an additional one of these. They cannot unpack again, though. Once they've packed out into their building, they're stuck as that. So make sure what you're choosing you definitely want. Yeah, the cool thing about getting another one of these when you age up, for example, is it can lead into things like fast castle into relic rush builds, because one of the options you'll have to build these building cards into will be a monastery. The Batu Khan has taken to the field. This guy's really cool, actually. So the Batu Khan has an intriguing mechanic about him. So whenever he's fighting, he will buff the nearby units by a percentile damage increase of 10%, I believe it is. And then it scales into 20 and 30% there, depending on the age. The other interesting thing, though, comes from his assistants, which we aren't seeing produced just yet, would be the Torguts. The Torguts give you a way of avoiding damage on the Khan, because they'll take the hits instead. It's like having your bodyguards and them going, Mr. President, as they leap in front of the bullets. And the first ones are queued up. Another thing you'll notice is they are insanely expensive, but they're not as expensive as you think. 350 resources sounds like a lot, but you have to remember the Golden Horde double produce everything, except Siege. Yeah, and the Batu Khan now already arriving to harass people off of the gold line. And you can see that, by the way, that even applies to villages. So they take 100 food and you get 2 of them instead of 50 food each. But the interesting thing here is that they are slightly quicker to produce. And this is padding by the developers to try and balance out the fact that you're going to have less villages at certain intervals. So, for example, every 20 seconds, Louis is increasing by 1, which means he has a villager working and gathering sooner. So this was the dev's idea, just decrease it by a few seconds to balance out the master economy. House of Learning coming from Louis MT. House of Learning has been adjusted. There is a bunch of new technologies inside here. The only familiar one will be Mahoots for elephant speed, but there's a lot more elephant going on in this version of the Delhi's Castle Landmark. You've got elephant caretakers, which basically gives you chivalry from French knights for elephants instead, regen them out of combat. You've got collateral damage, which will give them bonus damage increase on their bonus damage types. So for raid elephants, that would be a further increase to ranged and siege when you're fighting them. And then for things like the war elephant, it would be an increase towards building damage. And then the other ones are actually Candor drills, which affects men at arms, giving them charge damage. And Neza training, which allows you to inflate your spear count. I imagine, though, this is all about elephants. You may be noticing that Louis MT's macro looks off. He hasn't mashed every button in the universe. That's for good reason. The Tughlaq Dynasty do not get their techs for free. They have to pay for them. In fact, you may be noticing by the prices here, they pay more. For example, textiles, instead of being 150, is 180 resources. They pay 20% more to get their techs. Trade-offs, however, is they get it instantly, or almost instantly. 5 seconds wait for any technology. So, yes, you pay more, but it starts to return its investment a lot quicker. I think a lot of people are going to like this Civ if they struggle with the idea of tempering their timings around things like blacksmith decks, right? Because usually I've been there all the time when I'm like, oh, damn, I forgot Steel Dagger. Now I'm a minute away from it. This Civ, you pay a little bit extra and get it in 5 seconds. So SAS on the offensive has gone for the Keshiks. They make their return to the Golden Horde pretty much exactly how they were for the Mongols. Really, the big difference here in the cavalry department is going to be the Batu Khan, his Torgut, which look very similar to Keshiks, by the way. And then there is something I'm hoping we get to see a little bit later, but it will require that he starts getting up in age. That would be the Kipchaks, which are one of my favorite units. Right in the back. Knights. Okay, that was brilliant. I don't know if Louis meant to do that, but he body blocked with the elephant to stop the charge. That was sick. It's still going to lead to some losses, though, because Louis was way too greedy about this. He did not get wheelbarrow. Yeah, he didn't even get access to woven baskets, which is surprising. It's quite pricey, but being 5% more, it pays off quickly. More than 5%, right? Like, by getting woven baskets, you can see it there. It'll increase your gathering rate by 5%, but then it increases your drop-off from 5 to 10%. So remember, this allows the Tughlaq to kind of get something similar to what the Rus have with the Wooden Fortress on lumber camps, or what China and Shushi have with supervision. That's right. If you thought 4 taxmen were broken, wait until you see 20 of these. War Elephant coming out. Makes sense. Sass, everything he's built gets countered by War Elephants. So unless he wants to build into Spearman, he's probably going to have to look for a way out into the next stage. But our rating has at least connected for a few kills. We're up to 2 worker kills thus far. Make it free. Good dive in there from the Keshik. You may be wondering why these worker elephants are so useless. They don't have any attack. For good reason, for balancing reason, these guys can actually simply watch. They will not assist. They've been loaded up with goods, you know? Like, give them a break. They're carrying all your crap. Louis, he's trying to just rush Imperial here. This is very interesting. Like, at first I thought, oh, wait, no, we've just got one of those games where players are testing things out. This will be boring. We kind of have that, but it's one player essentially trying to get as deep into the age as possible while the other's trying to end the game. Ooh. Yeah, War Elephants are still as vicious as they always were, but Tuklak Elephants have an extra bit of spice to them. The trample ability would allow him to actually chase and trample over units, hurting them. It also makes these War Elephants even harder to counter with Spearmen than standard Delhi Elephants are. Because if you try, they can just trample and then run away. Sass loose on the Gathering. Looks like we are going to be seeing an age up soon. The problem with the way they've played this is like one of Golden Horn's weaknesses is the same thing the Abbasids struggle with. You can begin an age up, and it doesn't take anyone building it to do it, but now you aren't able to rush it. You have to wait a full 2 minutes. I love this choice, though. He's going for Relic Uvus. Relic Uvus is a really fun ability. It's actually probably my favorite age up for the Golden Horde. It gives you the ability to turn relics into Uvus that infinitely generate stone. Oh, nice raid as well. Gets one of the workers, elephants. Very tanky, by the way. You may be noticing that. Like, they don't go down easily. They also scale armor with age, which is why they currently are sitting at 4 melee and 4 ranged armor, despite the fact there is no technologies researched by Louis whatsoever. No, Louis is not a book reader, man. I'm looking forward to seeing these Relic Uvas in action, though. The problem is, I think he was too late on this. Louis has already snatched most relics. There's only 2 left on the map. At this point, it may have been worth instead going towards the Muscovy Yasak to buff up his units and get some resources. But it comes down to what his plan is. If Sass is trying to do something that is based around a lot of stone generation, then Relic Uvu still makes sense too. But if he doesn't really care too much for the stone, then the wood would have went a long way. This is... Guys, come on. This is awkward. No, it's still a War Elephant, sir. I mean, he will eventually kill it. The funny part is Louis could have trampled away at any moment here. He's actually trying to heal it? Okay, a little bit late for that. Still, he took out, what, 3, 4 Keshiks. Scholar's dying as well, but those were Dead Faith ones. I mean, War Elephants aren't cheap. I feel like, considering the fact that Assassin Age 2, he's probably quite happy with that trade. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised Louis did not use the Stampede, though. It would have allowed him to reposition, and then it would have forced the Keshiks to come at him from one side. Because War Elephants start to win those fights when they're attacked from one direction. They lose them when they're surrounded. Do we have any text? Just the Mahoots. And it's so weird watching what is a Delhi skin Civ not research everything. In fact, research nothing. I can already see the comments from people when they first see this and they're not quite familiar with Tuklak. They're like, oh my god, Louis, he's throwing the game. He hasn't researched anything. That's because everything is expensive. And he's being very select about this. Oh, we have the Tughlakabad forts coming in. So the Tughlakabad forts are a very interesting mechanic for the Tughlak dynasty. They get access to these forts in Age 2, and they don't cost as much as a standard castle, only 425 stone, but they are a lot more flimsy at 2k HP. Where they get interesting is that you can upgrade them to be better, and you'll want to because of what you put in them. Not units, you could do that. I'm talking about the governors. There is a governorship system for the Tughlak dynasty that gives them a lot of different perks here, from Ajmer that is focused around giving you strong defensive warriors, to Bakar that is going to increase your food income, and things like Multan that are simply there to just inflate your worker production rates. I wonder which one he's going to go for here. Honestly, looking at the state of his map control, food would be a good shout. So he could go for the Governor of Bakar and build farms around the Tughlakabad fort because it will function as a drop-off building. And then those farms will essentially be further buffed, giving food passively per minute. But it looks like instead he went for the Governor of Ook. Ah, okay, so this is interesting. So this is going to give him an ability to offset the cost inflation of technologies for the Tughlaks. More elephant? I mean, this is awkward. Like, actually, Louis has the right idea. When you run away like this, the spearman on top still keeps attacking. Not always. You need to kind of turn occasionally, but... wait, he is? Oh my god, his animation is missing. And fort coming up, but a new elephant arrives, and those health bars do not look pretty. So we'll be a back away. And oh my god, he got 5! Louis MT got 5 relics. Sass's landmark choice is completely pointless. Oh wait, no. Sorry, he changed, didn't he? No, did he? It looks like he did. Am I blind? I could have sworn. No, because he doesn't have the armor. He definitely chose the... Yeah, I'm right. The UI needs to be changed a little here. It's a bit confusing because it makes it look like you still research this. You can't... It's not like the bastards. You can't do the other wings afterwards, right? You can't, like, cap out and do all 4 wings in the end. So you have to choose. So yeah, he did choose building carts into Relic Uvus. Honestly, this UI would be a lot less confusing if they just remove the cost and then people know, oh, okay, yeah, that's been selected. Yeah, so going into Relic Uvus, having 2 shaman and having nothing to do with them doesn't feel great here. Because remember, they get this ability called Relic Uvu that lets you generate stone off of a relic. That was the whole goal with this play. Now it's pointless. All right, chill pill mode. We have got the Governor Sawan. So this is going to be the one that generates more gold from relics and sacred sites. And you may also notice that it makes healer elephants better. I wonder if we'll get those soon. I mean, this is a great choice of governorship. It just makes a lot of sense. And over here, he has gone for the Governor Multan. So we will see him increasing the production rate of his town centers. You can see he's down to 17 seconds here. What I'm curious about is what he's going to upgrade. Because it does cost stone. But if you upgrade these forts, not only does it buff the forts themselves, but it will buff the effects you're getting from your governors. Yeah, so for example, you could increase the research discount. This might be the most obvious one to ignore, I'd say, right now. So the Governor Sawan, like, he done this to just get more gold. He doesn't really care about the buff from the heal elephant, so not worth scaling. No one coming in, man. He's just spamming them up. Probably, like, what do you... From this position, Governor of Jalor, I imagine. Yeah, because he hasn't left room for Bakar to make sense. Ajma could be pretty cool, but yeah, there you go. It's going to be Jalor. So, Governorship of Jalor is going to allow you to increase the health of cavalry units produced out of stables that are near the fort. Yeah, and makes sense at this time. Like, not much of a health increase if you're going for war elephants, but he's interested in the raider elephants now. Raider elephants, they're specifically designed to counter ranged units. And because they're light cavalry, these crossbows are about to have a bad time. And a few more kills. Louis still good enough on economy elsewhere that he can afford those losses, though. The Sass, he has now locked in sacred sites. He's done a good job of raiding with these Keshiks a lot. We might not catch every skirmish here because there's just a lot of things to go over, and I know people are excited to hear about the new details. The Golden Horde, we haven't seen the Kipchak. I don't think we're going to see them at all. The Kipchak are a replacement for the Magadai. They do not fire and move, but they have a bleed effect. The problem is they're terrible against elephant comp. Nice raid here. Double raider elephant in. Because he's got the double melee tech, they 2-hit kill workers. And yeah, just see him use the trample there. So, as you can see, you're going to get the ability to just bypass any units in your way. That's pretty much it. It does a little bit of damage. The damage isn't too bad, but like the main thing that's really nice is movement. Like, for example, let's say you're fighting against a line of Keshiks and crossbows. What's going to be really good for Louis is that he can just press Q and then walk over the Keshiks on top of the crossbowmen, taking out the backline entirely. These Raider Elephants, by the way, do not have a splash effect. I've tested all of them. The only one that still has a splash effect is the big war elephants. Oh, we have the woven baskets coming through. So at this point, Louis is inflating the amount of extra resources getting drop-offs. You see he went from 5% to now 15% with 2 tiers of this. And you can get it up to 20% with the final tier, which essentially gives you China's supervision effect when supervising a drop-off building. I just love how Sass has a splash of everything. Like, he does look like he's just testing the waters now. And included in that is the Kipchak archers, which is a little bit surprising here. Yeah, especially against Raider elephants. You need spinman. Stuff you now starting to come out. Raider elephants are just so tanky. 305 HP, but in fairness, they do cost a lot of resources. 240, the same price as a knight. It just looks so comical watching an elephant run this fast. Less blob to carry, you know? Oh my god, dude. People are gonna get PTSD. You thought the elephant roars were horrifying normally. Well, we just ramped that bad boy up to 10, didn't we? Okay, so it looks like Sass is actually going into the triple shot here. So the triple shot is an interesting ability for the Kipchak archers. Kipchak archers have reasonable stats to begin with. But by getting this tech, they do 2 extra shots at half the damage. Now, that sounds pretty bad against elephant comp, but I think what Sass is trusting in is that these Kipchak archers, their unique quality is that they provide bleeding effects. So by going for the triple shot, you may be doing not as much damage on each shot at the start, but you're stacking the bleeds quicker. Yeah, not a bad idea in theory against elephants. Like, elephants being very high base health means that the bleed will get value over time. My issue is twofold, though. The thing you're against is still Raider elephants, and a lot of them. And the other interesting thought here is healing. Yeah, look at what Louis just queued up. This is a perfect counter. The bleed effect gets removed instantly if there's any healing. And Louis is now producing healer elephants, which function as mobile little heal sites, stocking 2 scholars on top of them. Sorry, imams. They're called imams, the 2 black. And these elephants are not easy to kill themselves, by the way. You can see the health on this thing, 485 HP. Also, decent base damage. They do assist in a fight. Does not work very well with the full elephant comp, though, because their damage gets increased by having melee infantry nearby. Oh, that cheeky sneak. Louis. He creeps away. Oh my god, these elephants are so annoying. In fairness, Sass had his time to raid. Now it's his time to receive. He's receiving a lot. Do we have any fort upgrades yet? We do. Yeah. So he's upgrading the Tuklakabad fort that buffs the health of his elephants. And then over here, I believe he's just stayed at level 1. Level 1 here as well, yeah. We haven't got any additional forts yet, though. Oh, wait, no, we do. We've got a 5th. Ah, there's the one I was waiting for. So the Governor Bakar has been activated. It's only tier 1, but remember, this is going to buff the farms in range. It has a very small influence, though. You have to think of this a lot like a Malian pit mine. It's essentially going to buff things or get food generated off of things that are right next to it. So these extra farms further away make no sense for Louis. He's going to want to get an elephant or 2 out here, sat on these. I do like that the Tuklak have the elephant economics on their forts, though. Actually, wait, I'm a Muppet. They have it on the TC. I didn't realize that on the TC. All right, I learned something today. Sorry, guys. We've been, like, overloading on information dumps here. I would have thought they'd treat this a little bit like China, but no. So you don't actually need to worry about moving your sheep economy away from your TC at the start. I have been playing Crucible on hard mode. Oh, my dear God. Wait, what is he doing with the worker elephants? Oh, Louis, you sick son of a... He's got 13 of them. So I see what Louis is up to here. He's going to try to use them to draw aggro. I am hoping that this has been thought of, because otherwise, worker elephants are going to break Age of Empires 4. They have 500 HP, and they only cost 75 resources. They're a phenomenal tank. I mean, look at the armor as well. By the way, this armor goes up again when you go into Imperial. What the hell? Alright. I hope for the sake of balance this doesn't work. Otherwise, Louis is up to no good, and everyone else is going to join in on it. Ah, we did just get the Khan debuff arrow thrown out, but it's quite wasteful there. So the Batu Khan has got an ability that you can unlock for, I believe it's 300 stone, that allows him to fire an arrow that debuffs enemies in the AoE of it. And what it does is it increases the damage that they'll take. It's a pretty big AoE as well. It was like this big. Secret Sight switch over. Louis MT getting control now. And he's getting so much resource as well. Remember, because he went for the religious governor, the governor of Siwan, he is generating a lot of extra gold here. You know how the counter to elephants used to be just avoid them? It's a little bit harder here, to be honest with you. Oh, and there you go. He's got the healing coming. So Siwan's fervor is going to be really nice here. Damage increase. Especially noteworthy on the war elephant specifically. What are you doing? Louis! The Adventures of Dumbo returns. I mean, I know that Microsoft owns Zoo Tycoon, but did we really need this level of cross-advertising? Goodness. Wait, Louis, what is that? Whoa, hold on. People without 4 legs? Oh, by the way, the Kanda Drills tech, the one that gives him increased charge damage, I love the blade. Dude, that blade looks sick. You can also get this blade on the Emir Warriors if he has that fort, but I don't think he's built it yet. It's a really cool looking blade. So it's a curved hilt and a straight sword. I love that we're getting more and more units to get that class uniqueness to see if there's an Sass. What are we up to here? Oh, wait. Okay, so they go past. But the worker elephants, they still body block. Yeah, they're still muddying the fight right now. Flash coming through. It's so messy. Okay, no, dude. The worker elephants need to change. So they get ignored at least. This looks so clumsy. Healer focus fire not really working out right now, but at the back, we didn't talk about him yet. He's got the ballista elephants. These are Springolds, and they're very tanky Springolds. And they're working very well. Front line looking like it's starting to break for Sass. There's crossbows and Kipchak left over. Springolds need to be moving in. They have good movement speed, so they can actually chase here and get the multiple penetrations. Raider elephants go in with the stampede though. Gets to the back line. But the spearman lit it in is going to be a problem. It looks like Louis' plan has failed. The only people left alive will be the worker elephants. I like the Golden Horde's logic of like, hey, there's no one on top of these, so we're not going to shoot. All right, we're not animal abusers, okay? Like, that's just an innocent animal about his business. Get rid of these guys. Actually, is he winning? Dude, I think I got deceived. These ballista elephants are the only things left alive. They're really hard to kill. They have 435 HP and good movement speed. Like, this is a Springald on roids, but for good reason. You do pay a lot more. It's 650 resources to build one of these compared to a Springald of 250. They are so worth it. Sass does get into this age up. Has at least got some base to fall back into. What was the plan here? I mean, the Horseman makes a lot of sense in theory until you realize that these ballista elephants are classified as heavy cavalry, which means crossbows and spears are your best counter. Yeah, it's very weird for ballista elephants that they counter spearmen, but are also countered by them. All right, Louis backing up. Throughout all this, has been stockpiling, so he's ready to age up as well. And he has been maxing out the castles. So yeah, right now, look at what it's generating. The governor of Bakar is bringing him in about 200 and 24 extra food per minute. Fantastic game. And wait. Okay, finally the worker elephant's being attacked. That'd to be the only thing there, but it's working. They are so good. So, I mean, I guess technically the worker elephants are functioning correctly in that they don't get target fired. This is going to sound very silly, but I kind of feel like they should just actually have no body block potential. So just you kind of walk over to the fight. The only problem then is like it's going to look terrible from a visuals perspective. But I could see these guys being a problem. Like they were still being a little bit annoying as horsemen and whatever were trying to push past. Like they could push past. But there was a delay on them getting into the fight because of it. Looks like we're capping out on all the forts. We didn't talk about them earlier, by the way, but you may be noticing the few new units for the Golden Horde. We have got the Karash in here that's providing extra armor. It's an armor aura they provide. They're very squishy. You basically want these as a support unit. And the other thing that has been looming around is the Roost Tributaries. These spawn from the Golden Tent. They are just quite strong, heavy melee infantry with bonus against cavalry. You can buff them through certain landmark choices. He didn't make them this game. But the other interesting thing is that they can spawn for free over time, or you can force spawn them for stone. The amount of stone it requires decreases the longer you've gone without spawning them. So gradually, they will just spawn for free for that reason. This is... I feel like a mill would have been burnt down by now. Like... Okay, they may actually need to change it so that worker elephants get torched. Because 8 melee armor is ridiculous. 8 melee armor, 9 ranged armor. Meaning you can't really kill them with ranged or melee. Unless you specifically have speed. Even then, I don't think they have the cavalry tag. So your only way of killing them is like the fact that you get a bit of elephant damage. What? Flash coming in. Oh, we do have an activation of Glorious Charge, so it just increases movement speed, as well as got some damage reduction on his units temporarily. This is really handy. 15% less damage, trying to absorb the front line. And he needs to absorb a lot. Louis MT, I think he's broke through here. The Kipchak, they're the only thing left standing between Sass and defeat. There is a lot of them, and they have started to raid. I don't think they've raided well enough. Then they get several worker kills, but ultimately get shut out. These elephants are just so goofy. Alright, they gotta change, man. These things have gotta go. Well, not go, but they need a rethink. I think the worker elephants may be too good. Also, Mongol players are in shambles right now. It's like, why can't our girls work like this? If they were this good, we'd put them on the front line. Kipchak, diving in. Not bad idea, the bleed effect up against the blister. But, I mean, again, 16 damage, 6 ranged armor, 638 HP because he did get his hands on biology. Biology plus the increased health from the Governor Jalor. I think this one's over. Louis. These elephants are so ridiculous. It's not even necessarily, like, I think there are certain areas where they're broken, but, like, it's not, oh my god, in this fight, they are absolutely broken. They are kind of, because if you A-click into a fight, you're going to waste efforts on them instead of A-clicking towards the main targets. But the more silly part is just they look out of place. They look really out of place. But even beyond the not fitting the role, I do think they're going to be too good to break up fights. Like, for example, if Louis just ran a few here, he would draw aggro from any control, select all A-click that Sass does. And that's a problem. So hopefully the devs are listening and hopefully they change that. I think worker elephants need to be, like, fully ignored unless you target them. Maybe Sass did target them on the chase earlier on, but it looked like it was just a after effect of the A-click, really. But you see, he just keeps doing this. So that maybe they accidentally get clicked instead of the men-at-arms, or maybe they get in the way. But either way, this should have been infuriating. GG gets called. Worker elephants come in clutch. Full elephant strats come in S tier.